Hello and welcome everybody to All the Rage Sports Podcast. How are we
I'm
doing
still the
today?
smartest man alive.
Not the smartest man alive. I hate you. With me, as always,
Incredulous.
is my lovely panel of hosts.
You don't know what that word means.
Yeah, you
Shut
learn
up.
to spell it right now.
Yes, please.
INCREDULOUS.
I don't know if that's true or not. We'll just go
No,
with
there's
okay.
a U before the L, dick.
I said a U before
Boom.
the L. I said DULOUS.
I can't spell. Moving
Yes.
on.
GLAMOROUS.
Jesse is dyslexic.
As
Jesse
always, I
can't
have
spell
my-
YMCA.
There's a U in there somewhere, isn't there?
Yeah, an I.
In
So-
youth, yes.
In youth. With me, as always, is my panel of hosts, as you can tell, Kevin Robinson, Andy Stewart, and Jace Junk. Welcome, everybody.
Kevin
so-
Robinson is not the smartest man alive.
Not at all.
You owe me $5, so fuck you.
Actually, he owes you $5 and you owe me $5. So Jace
Yeah,
just
so-
needs to get me $5.
Jason, when we get to the golf course Saturday, give Jesse $5.
Get a tea time first. You
For
fuck.
what?
Yeah.
I said that
I-
the Dolphins weren't going to take Tua. Jesse won
Oh,
that.
yeah, because you're
Jay
a
said
fucking
that the
idiot.
Jaguars
Yeah,
were going to
genius.
take Jordan Love.
Good pick.
I, of course, won that.
And I'm surprised I didn't bet Jace about Henry Ruggs either, because I definitely was very adamant
That
about
was
that.
stupid of you. You
Yeah,
totally
I
should throw
really
dollars
fucked
on
up. I really should have believed in myself. As you
that.
can see
No
from Jace's
self-confidence.
hair, he loved the draft.
So, yeah, we're going
Um,
to talk about the draft and...
We're going to talk about the draft. We're going to talk about our favorite picks, our favorite team drafts, our least favorite. Our Jason has a
see
few.
it building. Can see it building. Keep it going. Come on.
Jace has
He's
some
gonna
us-
rage
few
quit.
Get us to the intro. Get us to the
rage
intro.
favorite draft picks there. And then we have a few other topics to talk about, a little free agency action, some news about the NCAA.
Immaculate reception.
The immaculate reception, Jace. There it is.
Tuck roll. Tuck roll.
Truly?
Truly.
It's a lemonade.
But yeah, we're gonna have all that
Pussy.
and more.
Adam Vinatieri.
Shut up so I can do the intro.
Okay.
We're gonna have all that and more coming for you on All the Rage Sports.
John
Jason,
Elway's donkey.
All right, guys. So, draft day. You know what? I'm just gonna start this. Jace, how do you feel?
Existence is fucking pain.
Futile.
Why do I do this? Why do I do this every fucking year? We sit here and we go, okay, the Raiders, this player is going to fall into their lap. It is going to be, it's going to happen. It's going to be right here, Calvin Johnson. All the fucking players, all the people, I could sit here, I could make an entire goddamn podcast of the players.
What did they take instead of Calvin?
We could have had fucking 8 Super Bowls by now. If we would have God, I'm gonna get haunted for this. But Al Davis would have just died a little bit sooner, and we could have made some goddamn draft picks. Jesus Christ, we could have had Calvin Johnson. We could have gone back and done so many things differently. And fuck you, Jesse, you worthless pile of shit. You sat here for fuck. I'm so goddamn pissed off. I sat here for like a week and a half, and I'm like, fuck you. We're not going to do the Al Davis thing. We're not going to take the guy with speed. We're not going to do it. CeeDee Lamb is the complete package. Jerry Jeudy's kind of a wild card. We're going to take CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb falls to us because we go tackle at 10 and 11, and we're sitting there at 12 going, okay, he's here.
You
Let's
have
just
your,
let it
you have
happen.
your choice.
And I'm just sitting there, and I'm just in the back of my head going, there's an outside chance they take Judy. If that I'm okay with. Like, okay, whatever. I was like, we can't take Ruggs. We can't take the dude that is listed at 5'10", which means he's realistically 5'8", which means he's 2 inches shorter than I am. And we're going to take the speedster, and then Jesse's going to be right. And I'm pretty sure Al Davis fucking tapped into the wires and made that fucking pick, even though Gruden put his entire fucking draft board on national television like the dipshit he is. And we took...
How many more years you got, Gruden? Oh, thank you, Kevin. I appreciate that.
Same amount of Super Bowls they could have had.
Yeah.
Yeah. No shit.
So, if you all haven't watched the podcast for about 2 months, I've been saying that the Raiders are going to pick Henry Ruggs because of his super fast 40 time. And Jace didn't believe me. And guess who was right?
But since we're going to talk about a million other teams, I will talk about this at length. I've come to terms with it. Here's why they did it. We already have a CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy type, and Tyrell Williams. Sort of a... not the same. They're not the same talent type.
Quit doing that. Your beard's rushing against your mic.
Yeah. But they're close.
I'm mostly busy now.
The style of play that they're going to play down the field, and Tyrell Williams can run across the field a little bit, but you have him. Now you have Henry Ruggs, who is the deep threat. The main reason they drafted him, the main reason is A, to draw people out of the box for Josh Jacobs to be able to run the ball more, and B, towards the end of the year, everybody knew where the ball was going. All fucking Darren Waller, that poor son of a bitch, every time he touched the ball, he had 2 people hitting him every single time. Every single fucking time. And now we'll get into the later rounds and stuff like that with some of the guys we took in the later rounds and some of the players we have in Renfro and stuff like that now. I've come to terms with it. We did not get the best receiver, I don't think. I think Lamb's going to end up being a superstar. I think he can end up being a fucking Hall of Famer. And we whiffed again. But for Ruggs, for our scheme, I think he's going to be perfect.
Okay, so real quick, that was close to the Jace that I wanted. It was almost to the Jace that I wanted. You didn't quite get to the full level though, so I'm going to finish it off.
He didn't hang up. That's why.
I'm going to finish it off.
Yeah,
because I have been trying so goddamn hard to have faith in John Gruden and Mike Mayock turning this fucking team into something that's worth talking about. But they can't fucking do it. They pick up a guy shut the fuck up. They pick up a guy who could possibly be a Tyreek Hill or a fucking Antonio Brown. But he's not there yet. That's not what they fucking need. They don't have a number 1 receiver. They need a CeeDee Lamb, a Jerry Jeudy. They need somebody who can be that number 1 guy, so Tyrell can be the number 2 that he truly fucking is, and you can use Hunter Renfro in the slot where he fucking belongs. Instead, your number 1 receiver right now is Darren fucking Waller. And you have some scat back who may or may not pan out as your fucking supposedly number 1 receiver now. This guy he's fast, and that's about it. Then they go with their second fucking pick. Their second fucking pick, still in the first round, where they could have also put in another difference fucking maker on defense. And what do? They pick up the 8th rated fucking cornerback on everybody's board. What the fuck? They still had the availability of getting Kenneth Murray, who everybody thought would be a perfect fit for them at linebacker. They had the opportunity to get Patrick Queen, who was also possibly a perfect pickup for them.
We got
possibly one of the better linebackers.
Poor man's Patrick Queen.
Patrick Queen, probably one of the better linebackers in the draft, probably the best linebacker after Isaiah Simmons. And they didn't take him. And not only did they fuck themselves by not taking him, they fucked us over here as Steelers fans over by not taking him because he went to the fucking Ravens. Fuck
yeah, we'll have plenty of talk about that.
Yeah,
fuck
move on.
Fuck you, Mayock. And fuck the Raiders.
Yeah.
Well, not to touch on it anymore, but I will say I do like, even though I don't care for Ruggs, I do like the Arnett pick. It could pan out, it might not pan out, but I like the rest of the picks they made along the way. So we'll see how it goes.
I liked Ruggs. I think that he's going to pan out a lot more than everybody's saying is going to. Yeah, he probably's got to primarily play out of the slot because he's a little fast dude. But I like him. I think he's a good pickup. I think he's going to be a good receiver. I don't think everybody is giving him his full potential.
The other thing that terrifies me is Derek Carr hasn't been able to throw a deep ball since he broke his leg. He's drafted a deep ball receiver, so.
Oh, you got Marcus Mariota, though. He'll come in and save the day.
Yeah, that's right. All right, guys. So
You mean?
I guess now that we've complained about one team, we should probably just do all of our least favorites. So who wants to start with probably who you thought was idiotic in this draft, or who?
Well,
you thought
I'll
had
make
the
it
draft?
simple because everybody else is going to go with the one. I'll just say mine was the fucking Raiders.
Okay,
Be done.
we got that. Jace,
Whole
do you have a
draft?
least
The whole
favorite
draft, you
team?
would
Like,
say the whole draft was bad as idiotic.
When you fuck up the first round, you fucked up the whole draft.
what do you
with
think,
the first
Jace?
pick,
Do you
Jace.
have anybody in specific?
I'm trying to be a little bit positive, and you're trying to literally just.
There's nothing to
run
be
me down.
positive
Shut the
about,
fuck
fucker.
up.
You're
I
back in the
fucking
basement,
hate
bitch.
you. I'm
This is
glad
Jace
you don't
we're
have any
looking
hair,
for.
you bald bitch.
Back to the
Fuck
basement. Chargers are going to pass you by now. You're fucked.
Welcome to Jace and Kevin yelling at each other podcast.
My favorite.
Jace, do you want to go or you want Andy to go first?
Good.
Andy can go first.
All right, Andy. Who would you say is your least favorite overall draft team wise? Who do you think did not do a very good job?
We all know who the big one is, but I'm gonna say the Dolphins. Like
Really?
I was, yeah. I think they took a reach on.
You're fucking drunk.
May.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think they took a reach on fucking Noah Igabudubudubudb.
I agree with you
What
on
the
that.
fuck his name is?
I really wanted to hear Jesse try to pronounce that before anybody
Not
else.
gonna
I think. What's his name, Jesse?
Let me
Look it up.
All right, here we go. Hold on. Oh shit, this is gonna be bad. Okay, Noah Igbinino Jahini.
Igbenogini.
I would try to guess Noah Igbinohi.
Igbenogene.
Igbinohin.
I don't know, but either way,
Benogene.
I think they took a reach there. Obviously, the Tua pickup was all right. They picked a tackle. What the fuck? Austin Jackson. They picked a tackle from USC at 18. I don't think this team got a whole lot better in this draft. I mean, they got some offensive linemen.
Fucking drunk.
I'm on the other side
You
of this.
drinking
one.
White Claws
I thought they
again?
had a fantastic draft. I
You
thought
need a
they had one
Snickers.
of the
I just think
better
they took-
drafts.
I think they took a lot of reaches, like Robert
You-
Hunt
I
from Louisiana.
agree
You need a
with
Snickers. You're stupid when you're hungry.
It was
I
way
agree
You're a
with you.
early.
dipshit.
Jesus Christ, would you stop insulting and put some content down? Jesus. No, I agree with you that I think Noah was a reach. I think he was a second round corner. There were other corners on the board, including even safeties that played corner like McKinney and what
He
is it?
dropped to 36.
T Diggs. Those guys were still there.
Diggs. Trevon Diggs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like the two safeties from LSU, wasn't it? Or are they Alabama? Anyway,
McKinney
Trevon
was
Diggs
Alabama.
At Alabama.
Grant Delpit
Okay.
was from LSU.
Okay. So there were other secondary members there that I feel were better. Maybe they know something we don't. But I love the Tua pick, mainly because I called it. Austin Jackson was a great pickup. Robert Hunt, I thought, was a incredibly good steal in this early second round. And I really like Davis from Alabama. I think their first 5 picks were spot on, besides Noah being a reach.
Austin Jackson for me was like late first round, early second round. He's somebody that still needs. He's not a plug and play
Okay.
first day
Well,
starter. He's
Robert
gonna need some work.
Robert Hunt's giant, but I mean, like as far as his ball skills,
Here's
That's
the
all I got.
thing though. And the reason that I liked all three of their picks in the first round, they got Tua, they got the guy they were going for. They
Yeah.
wanted Tua. Now
Oh, I
we'll
thought they
find
didn't
out.
want to, Kevin.
Well,
yeah,
Huh.
dick fuck,
I thought
Smoke
there
screens.
is very adamant
Dick
about
fuck.
not wanting
Dak
to.
Fecker.
smoke screens trying to be sensationalist
Huh.
reporters.
Wait, do you guys
Um,
remember who said that?
I'm still the smartest man alive. I'm willing
Who
to take a
said?
reach and a gamble. You guys
Damn,
are just so
I'm just having the
fucking
hardest
stuck
time.
in your little pocket there. Don't want to make a reach or anything like that. I need the reach.
Hardest time
I think
remembering
everybody after Tua was a
who
reach.
said that.
Okay, so they get to it. They get the guy that they wanted. We'll see how that works out with the hip and everything. Still could be a question.
He doesn't even have
There's-
to play next year.
Their next pick with Austin Jackson, at that point, all of the big names at tackle had been taken off the board. The big names.
Yeah.
So why
Austin
would
Jackson
you wait? Why
would be
would
the
you
next
wait?
rated tackle. And they took him because I think they were already seeing the writing on the wall that they were going to have to go with Igbinohi at their 30 pick because already they had CJ or AJ Terrell come off the board before that, who anybody you listen to would tell you that outside of Jeffrey Okuda and CJ Henderson, any other corner other than that, there was a huge gap in talent. So anybody that went in the first round after those guys was a reach. So
So
they went with the tackle who they wanted to make sure that they got because there were other tackles taken after their pick. So there's a good chance they might have missed out on Austin Jackson, who they wanted. Then Igbinohi, also same thing. After they picked him at tackle, you have the Raiders taking Arnett. You have right after them, Gladney got taken. So two more corners.
you're not
They're
getting what
worried
I'm
about
saying
losing
here.
their guys.
How the fuck
I don't give a
are
fuck
they,
what you're saying.
How are they not in the case for best fucking player available? Like why? Like if they had
You
like
don't
a high,
pick. This isn't fantasy football in an auto pick. You don't just pick the best player available. You pick the best player to fit your need.
what
I
the
have to-
damn
I
fucking
hate
name's
saying this, but I
everywhere?
agree with
Your
Kevin
whole
on
game
this
is
one.
the fucking need.
They got rid of their tackle. They picked up a tackle. They got rid of a safety, which I was surprised they didn't take a safety earlier than Brandon Jones in the third. But I think they filled that need in some sense. And then they needed corner. They needed QB. They covered their needs. For the most part, they covered their needs.
Who do they have outside of Devontae Parker? Fucking Mike Gesicki at tight end. Like who do they
you're
have
right.
fucking playing running back?
You are tremendously right about the wide receiver category, though. They did not take advantage of a heavy wide receiver draft
Yeah.
until the 7th round.
But at the time they got to their second pick, you had Justin Jefferson would have been the best available.
Yeah.
Because the pick before them was CeeDee Lamb. Had CeeDee Lamb been there at 18, I would almost guarantee that Miami would have picked up a CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Who?
Because that would have been ridiculous. Yeah, that would have been too stupid to pass up. It was stupid of all the teams, including the Raiders ahead of them, that didn't pick him up.
Well, they took 3 offensive linemen, which was definitely their big need. They wanted to protect the franchise and Tua. They want to give Fitzpatrick time to win them some games next year while Tua sits and learns.
They're probably going to be doing running back by committee, and they'll need to have
That's the
a
biggest
sturdy
other-
offensive line for that.
That's the other question I kind of wanted to know is who's going to be their running back? They still have time, though. That's the other thing.
I think
Well,
I had him taking
still
DeAndre.
kind of-
They had like a
Swift, too.
4th string fucking white dude playing running back last year. Like they were fucking pretty
Don't
deep
hate
on
on
the
white
depth
dudes
chart.
being running back.
Put some respect
Hell.
on Patrick Laird's name.
Patrick Laird. I had him in our fantasy league that I kicked all your guys' asses in. So
I don't remember that.
Well, that's
So,
because you picked the
it's
best
my
player
opinion.
available.
It's my opinion.
I think
I'm just telling you,
I've
you're
forgotten all
wrong.
of our fantasy seasons now. I've forgotten all of our fantasy football seasons because it's been so long since live sports have been on TV. They're all now null and void, except for the ones I won.
God.
I
Yeah,
still
you
remember those.
fucking
So.
piece of shit.
It's raining.
I hate all of them.
raining.
I
Did
don't
you
even know
ever
how-
even get our names engraved on those plaques yet?
It's over there. I never went and picked it up.
Wait, it's done and wait,
Yeah.
you're kidding? It's been done for how long?
I don't fucking know.
He's
just
building a
remember-
fucking bathroom.
only
Give him a
time-
break.
The only time I think about it is whenever we fucking talk about it on
Well, they
here.
probably aren't even open.
He's building a
bathroom is
4x6
gonna be-
They are.
that's
shower.
gonna be-
He's building a
Andy's gonna be
4x6
like,
shower
I
that we can
can't-
podcast out of. Give him a break.
He's
Yeah,
gonna
Jason
put a
Saw
chair
it.
in the
I'm
Jason
not
shower.
saw
gonna
it.
drywall in my bathroom.
Oh,
End
dude,
of
fuck that
eternity.
new bathroom. You're fucking dude. I'm a fucking douchebag.
So, Jason, what was your worst draft overall?
Yes.
My worst draft overall.
Miami.
Or did you want to tell Andy why he was wrong about the Dolphins?
Well, I mean, he's kind of. I don't agree with the Austin Jackson pick, and you're an idiot for thinking the Raiders should have drafted him. You're a real fucking moron. But
I didn't say that. I said they should have drafted CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah. He didn't say the Raiders should have drafted Jackson. He said if the Raiders, if CD Lamb was there, they would have took it, and the Raiders should have took CD Lamb also. Is what he was trying to throw in a little jab
this
in
is
there.
Yeah, that was an extra jab about the fact that you guys have Henry
This
Ruggs.
is just one of those. This was one of those drafts where there was a couple of players at the top of it that stood out as top talents, and then the rest of it is really just based on need and really where teams needed to fill and things like that.
There's a big gap.
I'd like to go back
There's a
in
huge
time.
gap.
Yeah.
I'd like to go back in time and listen to our first podcast that we did about the draft because I'm pretty sure you said that last year. Like, as you were saying that, I'm flashing back to last year right after the draft, and I can almost swear I heard the same words.
Well, it's basically about the same damn thing. I mean, you think.
Well,
about
that's
it.
usually every draft, though. The first few picks are the really good players, and then you
Well,
get
but
like
no,
4 or
there's-
5 throughout the rest of the
sometimes there-
first round that pan out.
Are you done?
Let him talk.
Can I finish? Are you done?
I hate Kevin.
Yeah.
Other.
Kevin's on his dumb shit today.
You figure other than Burrow, there's always like 3-4 quarterbacks, and then like maybe there's a couple, 1 or 2 positions groups are always loaded in every draft, and then after that is basically kind of a crapshoot. So it's kind of bad, but when you figure Aaron Rodgers is this old, and all he has been begging for all these years is just give me one good draft pick. Give me somebody in the first round. Give me a Brandon Ayuk. Give me a fucking. They wouldn't get him, but Justin Jefferson. Give him somebody to throw to. He has thrown out of all the. They picked Tom Brady. I think Roethlisberger. All the guys out of who they've thrown touchdown passes to first round draft picks. I think Aaron Rodgers in his career has like 10 or something like that.
One
Yeah.
touchdown pass, and it was to Mercedes Lewis.
Yep.
Yeah, when he was already out of his prime.
Yeah,
They've
he was
got-
in his late 30s.
Like he had Donald Driver and Greg Jennings at the end of their careers, and since then he has had nobody. They
Free
could've
agent fucking pickups.
I mean, at that point, you're sitting there at 26. Reach on somebody for once. Give him a Michael Pittman. Get T. Higgins. They were both still sitting there.
T. Higgins, I'm pretty big on T.
Enzo
Higgins.
Mims.
Yeah, Mims.
Honestly,
Even
I
in the
think-
second
I think
round,
the Ja- I
draft
think
up
the
and take
Jag-
Chase Claypool or something.
Yeah.
Me and my dad
Claypool was
kind of
there.
did a weird thing. We sat down because we were looking right before the draft. We were like, okay, we need a good couple wide receivers. The one guy that really jumped at me and Dad, we were literally just sitting on the TV punching in YouTube highlights. Fucking, I can't pronounce his name, but that Chenault or Chenault or whatever his name is from Colorado.
Ishikashi or whatever. Ishikasha.
No, Laviska Chenault or Chenault.
Yeah,
from
Laviska.
Colorado. It's like,
Laviska.
Jesus Christ, this dude can jump. Like, he runs past people and he just jumps out of the fucking gym. And I'm like, why wouldn't you take him in that spot? But instead, they absolutely blew it. They've been trying to bring
Trashed
Aaron
their
Rodgers
future.
replacement for so long. And they're finally to the point now where they might finally need an Aaron Rodgers replacement, but they could have given him somebody like 3 or 4 years in advance now and shit. Yeah, it's just,
That's that
on the first round alone, just that fumble, you could have taken another running back. You could have taken somebody to block for him, somebody to help him. and you gave him nothing.
They lost
gave somebody-
so
you gave
much in
somebody
this
to grow.
Take a
offseason.
fullback, somebody who's actually going to see the fucking field.
They lost so much this offseason, and they didn't really even start filling those needs till like maybe the 5th round.
So wait a
Exactly.
second.
Like when
How
you take a first
How
round
soon
pick,
does Aaron Rodgers request a trade?
Not happening.
You don't think?
no.
Favre didn't request a trade when they drafted Rodgers.
I know, but this is like Favre wasn't slapped in the face this much.
Yeah, that and Aaron Rodgers, you got to remember.
That's
he was
completely
supposed-
different.
Aaron Rodgers was supposed to be like a top 5 to top 10 pick, and then he fell to like what 23,
Yeah.
24.
And
Well,
and at that
that's-
point,
the
Brett Favre
Packers
was already
keep
playing the I
making
Might
same-
Retire game.
Time is a flat
That's
circle. The
true.
Packers keep making the same mistake. They're like, oh, we got Aaron Rodgers at like 20 or 23. We'll just do that again, and it'll happen. And then they're like, oh, Jordan Love's there. We'll take him, and it's not going to happen. At least not right away. And Aaron Rodgers is kind of like a Ben Roethlisberger. He's not going to be the warm, fuzzy, hey, I want you to come in and compete with me type. He's going to be like, fuck you.
This is my fucking team. Stay the fuck
He's
away.
not going to relax, is what he's trying to say.
Well, and then on top of that, you know, when you're talking about a first round pick, now Tua being the exception because of the whole injury situation, but if you're trying to pick a top, like a 1 or a 2, you generally are trying to pick somebody who's going to be a starter year 1. And you're picking a guy who might not see a field for 3 years. If he ever sees the field for your team. This
Yeah.
guy could
Because
Run
then they
through
started
his
talking about,
contract.
oh, hey, this could be very good trade bait for the future. Look what the Patriots did with Jimmy G. One, Jimmy G wasn't a first round draft pick.
And also, they only got a second rounder
Second.
out of him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
The thing that drives me nuts about this pick is the fact that they're competitive. Okay, they could have got a fucking tight end. Cole Kmet was fucking available. He was the best tight end on the board. Fucking there was there was a ton of wide receivers, and you take a fucking quarterback like that.
There were
You're
so many other
competitive.
teams
You're
near the end
competitive.
of the line there.
Towards being more competitive instead of fucking
And
Aaron
the
Rodgers.
other thing the other thing confused me is the next pick they had in the second round. Even with there were still some decent players available on the board, and instead of taking a wide receiver or a tight end, they took AJ Dillon, another running back from Boston College, and it's like you already have Aaron Jones.
They have Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have Aaron
Why?
Jones and Jamal Williams. They have
Jamal
two
Williams.
running
Just
backs.
gonna say Jamal Williams.
They have
Yeah,
two
I think a
backs.
running back
And,
position
that, and
is
the running
probably
back
the
they picked
least
wasn't
need
even the
on
best on the
offense.
board.
No.
No, not by far. No, that was honestly a little bit of a reach.
Yeah.
So
Now, like
why would
Kansas
they
City
reach for
didn't
a
take the
fucking
best
receiver?
running back on the board, but they picked the best running back that fits
fit-
their
Fits their
style
system.
of play. That's completely different. This guy is not like
Yeah,
stupidity.
Trash.
Matt LaFleur, I think, is now. I mean, I assume that it wasn't all his doing on this one, but I wouldn't be surprised
I
if he's
think
like,
it
I think it is. I think it
Yeah.
absolutely is.
I think it is, and I-
Aaron Rodgers. This is his fucking team.
Yep.
This
Right
is
there.
my team.
Right. This fucking guy's making a lot of sense right now.
Wow. Holy fuck.
but
Did you have a
I think.
Snickers? Did you eat a Snickers? Because you've gotten smarter all of a sudden.
Good.
Well, I think that is definitely a big part of it. I think now you're going to see Matt LaFleur on the hot seat after this season. They have a subpar season. Even if it's 10-6, I could see Matt LaFleur being on the hot seat.
But he's the hot new guy, and he took him to a fucking
Yeah.
NFC Championship game. He's their fucking McVay dude. This is their
blows
guy.
up.
Wait,
If he
Don't,
blows
Rob,
up-
don't
what'd you
utter his
say?
name. Don't utter his
who
name.
took him to an NFC Championship again?
Their defense,
Aaron
but
Rodgers.
no, their defense.
Yeah, their defense, yeah. And they lost key members of that, too. Did they refill those holes? No.
It was a terrible,
How
terrible
do you
draft.
replace- They lost Blake Martinez, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
He's a giant.
Who was their leading tackler, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
And who did they draft to replace it? Does anybody have a clue?
Jordan
Oh, wait.
Love. Jordan
Uh,
Love.
Kamal Martin in the 5th round. That's who they've drafted to replace him.
Jordan Love is
Yes,
going to be
the
their
Clarion
Taysom Hill,
University.
and he's going to play linebacker too.
Who was that one guy that was on their line for years and protected Rodgers with his life? Beloga, I think. Yeah. Who did they draft to replace him? Oh, let's see. John Runyon in the 6th round.
It's just
They-
it was a
overall
slap in the face. It was a slap in the face to that whole fan base. Like,
Open
we wanna
hand
talk-
slap in the face. Didn't even.
We
powder
want to
the
talk
hand
about
first.
how bad the Raiders did. Like, taking Jordan Love where they took Jordan Love. That was a slap in the face to the entire fan base who's been standing behind them, standing behind the
Raiders
coach
at least-
change.
We at least did well in the later rounds and filled some key positions we needed. The Packers were just kind of like all over the fucking place.
The Raiders pick guys who are good players, just not good for where they were taken.
Yeah. I'm never going to say that any of the picks they made were bad.
Henry
players.
Ruggs isn't terrible. As a matter of fact, if they'd taken Henry Ruggs with their fucking pick they took Arnett with, I wouldn't have said a thing. If they'd have had like Jerry Jeudy before that.
I don't know where you guys had Jordan Love at, but I had Jordan Love as a late second, early third round pick.
I had him going to New England in the first.
I had him going to New England in the 1st as well.
He was meant to be. He would have won Super Bowl after Super Bowl with the Jacksonville Jaguars. But they fucked up.
But instead, it's going to be Gardner Minshew winning those Super Bowls.
No, instead of Gardner Minshew,
Thank-
there's no
thank for-
AFL anymore. There's no XFL, and I don't even think he's good enough for the CFL anymore. He'll be giving out Instagram fucking workout videos.
The CFL might be folding now too.
Really?
Where did
Yeah. If they requested a loan of $41 million from the Canadian government and said if they aren't able to get their season in, they're going to possibly need another $150 million to be able to stay afloat.
And that's where Warren Moon came from.
Well, that makes sense because it's really not that big of a deal, even in Canada.
Yeah. A.
Yeah, they don't really
What's
carry.
football, A?
Nobody's really bragging about my team won the Grey Cup.
Well, it's like
Yeah,
it's the
and
same
it's
thing as
And it's very odd that I even know the fact that the Grey Cup exists.
yeah.
I was gonna say it's the CFL is the place where kickers go after college to get good enough to get on NFL rosters.
Well, but here's the thing.
How about the
the
racist kicker?
CFL?
We haven't talked about
CFL
him
is
yet.
literally
The racist kicker?
You didn't see about that?
No.
Oh yeah, the guy that freaking Patriots picked up, he had a 3%ers tattoo on his arm.
Oh shit! Who's that?
I forget his name. But he's like,
Oh,
I got
they
it when I was
drafted him.
young, and it was before they did all the stuff that they did, and I'm gonna get it covered up.
Yeah, they fucking drafted him early.
He didn't get drafted. He was an unsigned free agent or an undrafted.
How about
Great.
Thaddeus Moss?
Thaddeus Moss was ridiculous. I cannot believe he didn't fucking
I
go.
could not
Yeah.
believe nobody drafted him.
I was really hoping the Steelers would pick him up.
I agree with you 100%. I was hoping the same damn thing.
Eric
Just
Ebron,
take your
Thaddeus
guys'
Moss,
I would
Chase
like to
Claypool.
say you guys kind of fucked up your first pick. I hate to tell you, but as a Notre Dame football fan, you basically
like
drafted
Notre
a
Dame,
guy who is kind of like a Devin Funchess and Eric Ebron rolled into one. A guy who has questionable hands and doesn't know what position he wants to play. So congratulations.
Hey, runs a
Clap your
4.42
fucking
though.
hands for that one.
Jesse will have him
Oh,
at a
hold on,
94
hold on.
overall
This
after
is-
his first
this
season
is-
on Madden.
I'm gonna keep doing this. This is gonna be the Jace just takes over and fucking spins it on you because, quite frankly, it's usually me as a Raider fan versus you three. So I'm just gonna spin it over to you guys, and this is gonna be your segment. I want you to spin it to me. Why is Chase Claypool a good draft pick for you guys?
You want me to do this one?
Go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead,
Why don't you
'cause
start?
I have a
Let me
different
just
point
talk
of
to
view.
you about the Steelers. One thing that they can do good is develop wide receivers. Think about all the wide receiver greats that have come.
He's a tight end.
He's not a tight end. Would you?
Oh.
Was Calvin a tight end?
He changed the wide receiver.
Was Calvin a tight end?
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Continue.
He's a receiver. Sorry, but not sorry. He's a blocking receiver. There. Is that better?
That's a
Guess
tight
who
end.
else was not a receiver coming out of college? The Hall of Famer Heinz Ward. Antoine Randall.
Rookie of the
not
year.
a good not a good example.
No, Antoine Randall is a good example. He was a great wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, when he left there, poop.
Yeah.
The only one out
Kind of
of
the Patriot effect.
last, I don't know, dozen or so receivers that was a
I'm sorry,
first
but
round pick.
using great to describe Antoine Randall is a bit
In Pittsburgh, he was.
He was in Pittsburgh, but after that, he kind of bleh. But he also had a great
He
tandem
wasn't.
of Hines Ward
He
and
wasn't.
Plexico
He was-
Burris.
He was mediocre, but he was a good slot receiver. Continue.
Hey, we won the Super Bowl thanks to him.
He was a great passer.
He was a receiver. He was a quarterback as well.
He was a great receiver and kick return specialist. So fuck yourself.
Yes,
Wasn't it? I thought he threw a pass in that fucking Super Bowl.
that's
Yeah,
what I
he threw
said.
the
Yeah,
touchdown
he
pass
threw
to
the
Hines
touchdown
Ward.
to Hines Ward.
Well,
Ben-
I literally just said he's a great passer, and then you guys are like, "This is my segment." Continue, Jesse.
So, Antonio Brown, 6th round pick, became the greatest receiver in the league at that time. Santonio Holmes was a 1st round pick. As soon as he left, started smoking a lot of weed.
Well, that was before he left. That's why he left.
Yeah, that's why he left. You could say that every receiver that was great in Pittsburgh left Pittsburgh and went downhill. So what I'm trying to say is
Aside from
Pittsburgh,
Emmanuel Sanders.
Emmanuel Sanders is about the only one you could say not the case. Emmanuel Sanders got better after he left Pittsburgh.
Darius Hayward-Bay arguably had the best years of his career in a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform.
The Steelers know how to make receivers get their full potential.
Maryland Terrapin. Maryland.
They get their full potential out of them. So this guy is going to be a touchdown machine. He will. My predictions are he's going to be just shy of 1,000 yards, 12 touchdowns, and around 60 receptions.
He's going to be the number 3 receiver on our team, I think.
He will be.
He won't start the year out there.
No.
Yeah.
I said just
The-
shy of 900 yards, or just under 1,000 yards, around the 8-9 range.
Yeah,
Oh,
when
I
your
think
quarterback
he's more
throws
like
for 5,000 a year
5.
generally over the last few years, that's not a stretch.
Yes.
Saying 5 and 6. 500.
Deontay Johnson, is that his name
Yeah.
right?
He's going to
Yeah.
blow up.
He's going to be the number 1 in Pittsburgh, and he is going to blow up this year. Claiborne is going to play opposite of him, which is going to allow
Claypool.
Juju. Claypool,
No,
sorry.
Juju's going to play opposite of him. Claypool
Juju's
will
get
get
traded.
a lot in the slot.
Claypool's going to play some in the slot early, but he's going to play opposite of him, allowing
You
Juju
can't even
Nothing else.
pronounce his fucking name, and I'm sorry. I can't wait for Uncle Lonnie to listen to this. All 3 of you think Deontay Johnson with Ben Roethlisberger is going to be a number 1 receiver in the NFL.
Yeah.
I think he is.
He
gonna
was
be
the number 1 receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers last year.
Oh my god. This
Oh,
is
it's
like
so
the Raiders
ridiculous
had,
that a
Streeter,
third-round
you're
receiver
back
would be a
5
number
and
1
12,
receiver on a
5
team
and
when a
11.
sixth-round
Oh,
receiver was
you're
the
gonna-
best one in the
It's gonna
NFL.
be great.
Oh,
Love it. You're
Yeah,
gonna be
it's-
fucking horrible.
it's going to be
This
so great.
team knows how to get the most out of their receivers. They don't have to draft anybody high. The only 2 receivers they've drafted high are Plexico and Santonio Holmes, and neither of them really did too much after their time in Pittsburgh.
And Uncle
Now,
Lonnie can
you
say
could
what he
say-
wants to
Plaxico only-
You could
because
say
they have Jarvis
Plexico.
Landry and Odell Beckham and
Yeah,
underachieved.
you know.
So
Plaxico didn't do shit. Whatever.
Plexico did a little bit
Shot
in
himself in the
Giants,
leg.
but he also shot himself in the leg during that time, which I
Well,
thought
that's
was
you got to be careful. Gun laws in New York and all.
touchdown pass for the win in the Super Bowl.
yeah, he did good after the Steelers.
for the win.
Okay, well, here's what it boils down to. You're all still biased dumb shits, and Jesse, you can take.
I
back-
fucking agree with you, dickhead. Fuck you.
Did you though?
What?
You agreed with me on some of that too.
I'm in between.
Are you
but I
playing
said
Yes
Chase
Man
Claypool-
today, Andy?
No, Chase Claypool goes for 500 yards and 6 touchdowns because he's a red zone target.
I think he'll get
Deontay
double-digit
Johnson-
touchdowns. All right,
Deontay
I think
Johnson
it will
is-
break 10 at least.
Deontay Johnson is going to get forced into the number 1 receiver role. That's
Yeah,
what the fuck.
You're silly.
I hope to God week 1 he comes out and has like a 2 to
It's
3
out of fucking.
against.
Well, no, that's what'll happen. I want you to bookmark this. He'll come out week 1 and he'll have like a 3-touchdown game. And you'll be like, "This is gonna be easy. He's gonna do this every week," and then he won't see the end zone again until
So like
he'll
week
pull an Alvin
9.
Kamara. Won't fucking see the fucking end zone until like week
Julio
14.
Jones.
Week 14.
That's okay
garbage
because there's
time.
like 4 receivers on the Steelers that could be a number 2 receiver in Oakland right now. So
Who? Please tell me right now. I'm like,
Deontay is better than Tyrell.
no.
Washington's better than Tyrell.
No.
Juju's better than Tyrell, and I think
Washington's
Deontay
a
is
Juju,
going
I
to be
would say,
one of the breakout
Juju's
receivers
the
this
only
year.
one that could be a number 2 in Oakland right now. Deontay, I wouldn't even take over Hunter Renfrow right now. So,
Yeah, well, that's because you're biased.
James Washington's a bust.
He
I'm
is
sorry
a
to
bust.
tell you
I
guys.
agree.
You guys didn't watch football last year
Okay, Kevin.
when Ducky was in the game and he was throwing fucking bombs to Washington and he was
okay,
catching
we
every
So
one of
he's
them.
Bob
catching-
actually falling off the track.
I was gonna say, we're way off the rails.
Control this fucking thing.
But
You're the
only
one
time-
that did it.
The only
You're
time
like,
he
I'm going to
catches
take
balls-
over, blah, blah, blah. We're going to talk
because
about
it's
this
one
now.
Then you go,
It's one
Jesse,
question,
please
and now
fix
you're
it for
talking
me.
I took one question. I'm like, hey, do you guys like Chase Claypool? And you're going on about Ducky Hodges
right, yeah.
throwing to
Kevin
Deontay Johnson
went
was
a
the
little
best.
sideways with it, but it's
Yeah,
okay.
whatever.
I said 5
Now.
sentences.
I tried.
Now, we've talked about our least favorites. I have not mentioned my least favorite yet. My least favorite was a team that I mentioned prior to the draft where I said they have to have a big draft. They have to get this ship corrected. And I feel like they did none such for their team. And that's the Houston Texans. Yes, they did not have a first-round pick. Yes, they only had 5 picks. Did they draft a receiver? Yes. In the 5th round. They used their first pick for Blacklock, who I thought was a good pick. In the 2nd round early, thought he may have been able to sneak into the 1st round with his talent. I thought that was a good pick. I think there were better options there, like we've said. There were better receivers there. There were better things that they needed there. Then they take an edge rusher and Greenard in the 3rd. A tackle and Charlie Heck in the 4th, John Reed in the 4th, a cornerback from Penn State, and then they finally take Isaiah Coulter, the wide receiver, in the 5th. I don't know if they magically believe that, what the hell's their one receiver that's always injured?
Fuller.
Fuller, yes, thank you. I don't know if they magically believe that Fuller's going to have a resurgence in his body. They think he got rid of his bad cells. I don't know. But thank you. But yeah, no, it doesn't make any frigging sense. I thought their draft was horrible. I thought everything they did in it, they did nothing to really improve their team to a point of competing. They didn't do anything on offense. I like their D-line pickups, but that's only going to get you. I mean, I just don't understand how that was their main focus at that point. What do you guys think of the Texans?
I agree completely.
Yeah,
I agree with that too. 100%.
I mean, anytime you put Bill O'Brien in charge of anything, we've figured out.
But
He's
Jim
gonna fuck
B
it up
is a
somehow.
terrible, terrible coach.
Even people like
And
us,
GM.
we're sitting here and we're like, okay, you're a GM in an NFL office and you get that phone call and we're like, fuck no, I wouldn't make that trade. And Bill O'Brien's like, hell yes. And we'll give you $50,000 to whatever fucking sends it to him. You don't care. The guy has no football sense, and the fact that they have not given him a competent GM over him, and he continues to prove day in and day out that he is not capable of making these decisions.
That whole committee that they have in the GM spot is fucking. They're dumb.
Horrible.
Like,
Us four, I shit you not, could make better draft picks.
yeah, we would be a better committee.
If they paid us, they're like, hey, we're gonna give y'all $100K a piece. Draft for us.
Well, aside from Jesse, because Jesse would pick every 6'5" wide receiver that ran at 4 something.
Jesse would be like, hear
40
me out.
time.
Deshaun needs another weapon, and here's why this guy is the next.
We'd
Calvin
have
Johnson.
10 6'5"
And then we
Calvin
would just
Johnson
disconnect him
Juniors.
from the call.
Calvin Johnson
They
Jr.
don't-
Juniors on the
Juniors.
roster.
Yeah.
Hey, man, my teams on Madden are ridiculous.
How many Calvin Johnsons do you have on the field?
Your one
Usually
wide
2 or
receiver is
3.
ridiculous.
I usually
Many-
have 2 receivers that catch
Giant
2,000
receivers.
yards.
Yeah, 2 giant fucking receivers.
It was always Calvin Johnson and Jesse Baden, the created 6'5" or
Ah.
taller receiver.
Yeah.
The Spider-Man
Jesse
meme,
Baden,
just
I
one's
know.
white, one's black. Look there across.
I am Megatron.
Okay, so Houston sucked.
So, who is your favorites? Who's the team you think did the right thing? Drafted well, improved their team, made a good outlook for this season. So, I think we sort of kind of started with Kevin last time, so I'll start.
No,
with
we
you.
started with Andy, I thought.
Well, you ran on about your hate for the Raiders.
Oh,
prior
no,
to
I
me
won't.
bringing
Yeah, I
up the
won't.
topic.
Okay. Yeah, my best overall was the Cleveland fucking Browns.
Yeah, I
Those
hate to
sons
say
of
that.
bitchin' bastards. They picked up one of the guys who could potentially be the best tackle in the draft. But I'm interested in worse than Mekhi Becton. Have potential
Much
going
high.
through the roof. But Jedrick Wills is a beast. They got Grant Delpit, going to be immediately plug-and-play safety. And a defensive lineman and a linebacker both could be looking at starter roles in the early parts of the season, too. Harrison Bryant at tight end. I mean, you've already at this point got Austin Hooper and David Njoku. So I don't know that he's going to, depending, because there's a lot of people saying they might try to move on from Njoku.
Yeah.
But if they don't,
He's gone.
he's a third tight end at best.
Yeah.
Then, they picked up a couple filler spots. They picked up a center who's probably going to be, just a backup utility guy. And receiver, I really don't know a whole lot about him either. So he's probably going to be coming in a camp guy, maybe practice squad.
Well, if you look, their first 4 picks were in positions of need. They needed a tackle. They needed a safety after getting rid of Peppers. They needed defensive linemen. They needed a linebacker. Those are all big things they lost in the offseason or prior to. They addressed them. Then the following 3 picks, 4th, 5th, and 6th round, were all great depth picks where those players are going to help fill out a roster and develop. I really hate saying it, but they drafted very smart that entire draft. They didn't get drastic like Cleveland of the past where they trade down 3 times and have 4 first-round picks at the end of the draft. They didn't go balls to the wall like they did the prior year and trade a bunch of players away for things. They made a lot of good moves in free agency, and they stuck their guns and drafted smart.
Yeah. Now, the little asterisk I will put on this, as me and Uncle Lonnie were arguing for fucking about 2 hours the other day, this is all well and good here. They did a very good job, but it's all going to come down to actually proving it on the field. They didn't do it last year. They underperformed ridiculously. And on top of that, they then signed a head coach who, as an offensive coordinator, was able to gain 2 yards and a quarter and a third against the 49ers. And those 2 yards were because the lineman caught a tipped ball and fell forward 2 yards. So they got the guys. Now they just got to figure out how to use them right.
Yeah.
That has been the biggest bane of existence on the Browns, is putting it together. They've loaded their roster time and time again. They just need to learn the chemistry and playing together.
And Jedrick Wills and the other pick, like Jedrick Wills is probably going to be starting at left tackle for the Browns. They already said that. They're probably going to keep Conklin at right tackle where he was.
Yep.
They picked up some other offensive linemen as well. That could be the saving grace for this team. That could be all they needed, because Baker Mayfield was running for his life for most of the year last year. And it showed because he had the second most interceptions in the league behind Cam Newton, behind Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
So if the offensive line fixes their problems, great. If not, then it could be another bad year.
Absolutely. What do you guys think?
I agree with that entire statement. I actually didn't have to interject and fucking scream or anything. That was very well put, Kevin. Good job.
Because I'm the smartest man alive.
Thanks,
You're
Andy.
a piece of shit.
You're a
Fucking
piece of shit.
Horrible
Fuck,
fucking piece
Andy.
of shit.
God damn it. Jace, please say something negative about Kevin.
Jace, yeah. I've been to
Kevin's
Joe.
a
I'm
piece of
sorry,
shit.
guys.
And here, I'm going to say something negative about all of you three. The Baltimore Ravens had the best draft out of anybody.
Fuck you. I thought I was next. Take it.
Evidently, Jace just took it.
Take it. I'll pick
Because
it.
he also took mine.
No. I don't want to upset you. You go first.
I really don't want to talk about it. But me and Jace, let's do a co-pick here. But
But now
anyhow,
I think I'd rather just hang up than agree with you. So.
you're a fucking God, you're a little
Okay.
Seeing you thought I was a terrible person.
Andy, why do we agree on the Baltimore Ravens had the best draft?
The Baltimore Ravens had the best draft because I do not think they reached on any one of their picks. They picked fucking solid fucking players every single round. They knew what they were going to get with each player they got. They got J.K. Dobbins, the running back out of Ohio State. They know he's his ceiling's pretty high, but his floors, they're right there. Patrick Queen, they know what they're going to get out of him. He's fucking
roof is the
Patrick
ceiling.
Patrick Queen falling to you at 28 is the biggest gift you can be given.
Yeah,
could
when he
not
should have been
fucking
gone at
believe it.
19.
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
'cause
but he messes a lot
Maybe
of
even
tackles
before
and
that,
shit,
be
but-
like, oh, you're gonna fall maybe 9, 8 picks below. Okay, we'll take it. Perfect.
Yeah.
A team that is known for making great linebackers, great safeties, and having great defense.
Yep.
And then
three-round picks.
to add to your J.K. Dobbins comment, now you're looking at a running back room that features Mark Ingram, Winston Hill, or Justice Hill,
Justice
and
Hill.
J.K. Dobbins and Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Who is their best running back?
Pretty
Well,
good for a
you
running
figured,
back.
honestly, the Dobbins thing, you can joke all you want, but Mark Ingram's best years came when he had an Alvin Kamara type with him in the backfield. So now
Mark
you have
Ingram
two
had a big
guys.
year last year, though. Mark Ingram had a
Oh,
Good
I wasn't making any negative. That wasn't a negative comment. That was a positive comment that they have Mark Ingram, Justice Hill, J.K. Dobbins now, and Lamar Jackson as running the football.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
pretty stout combo. That, you know what? That's better than the Buffalo Bills running back room from last year.
you guys
Put some respect on Frank Gore's name.
No
Put some
shit.
respect on Wendell Smallwood's name.
Yeah, I mean,
Wait.
Dobbins, besides beating women, he might be the next Ray Rice there.
Yeah.
All we got to do is get him on an elevator.
Yeah, just got to
Ray
see
Rice.
how he acts in
Fuck,
elevators.
guys. This is why nobody listens to us. We're talking about fucking women beating.
Well, you know what? I mean, Kelly Stafford Stitz would solve the whole thing.
Nice smear.
I think,
tattoos.
honestly, I think people don't listen to us mostly because we're wrong. But
Yeah, we are wrong.
Um,
We've
I
been
believe
right
I was-
a lot.
We've been right a lot, I must
We've
say.
been right a lot. Andy was right on a lot more
well, that's
things than I
what's
gave him
terrifying.
credit for.
People are gonna start listening to us.
I was gonna say, I'm right all the
You guys
time.
are offensive.
I don't have a fucking ego about it, but I am right all the fucking time. I am.
It's
Fuck you.
unfortunate, but he is.
And I
right
do
that
have an ego, and I'm right all the time too, and on most of the stuff.
No, you're fucking lying. You probably had the least percentage of fucking right amount of things said.
Can we
Out of
please move on?
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's.
So
I'm the
Jace,
smartest man in the
go
world.
for it. Go for it, Andy.
Yeah, you guys went over the first two picks. You want to go over any more? Or?
The other linebacker they picked up, I forget what his name is, Malik Harrison, out of Ohio State. That was their third round pick.
He's from Ohio State and he plays defense. That's pretty much all you got to say.
Yeah, that's pretty much
Well,
it.
then they go and get Justin Matabuhi or Buki or however they play. They got a lot of depth on the defensive line as well, which, as they've proven throughout the years, they've taken guys who have been like sort of rotation, just sort of round the well players, and then they come
Chris
out as
Wormley,
exactly.
he's a
But
Steeler.
another one of those guys where they just keep adding more depth to the defense, and they would keep making the defense better and better.
And I forgot that they fucking got him, but Geno Stone. I follow he's a younger Instagrammer. It's called Berg Sports on Instagram, and he just kind of likes giving his hot take and shit. He's like, I think he's still in high school, but Geno Stone was his favorite. Well, his favorite safety in this draft. I couldn't remember if it was safety or his favorite defensive back out of Iowa, and the Ravens got him in the 7th round. So if that kid's right, fucking glory be he. Cause
Well, that kid won't be right. So
Yeah.
you never know.
Also, maybe while you're on Instagram, you could post some of our hot takes.
Okay.
So who's your team, Andy? Are you going with the Ravens as
He
well?
went with the Ravens as well. They
Maybe,
coded
yeah.
that one. Yeah, that was a code
Yeah,
deal.
because I was gonna kind of go with the Ravens, but there's one team I really liked how they draft. They didn't have a tremendous amount of quantity of picks, but I like the quality of the ones that they did pick and for what their needs were. I really like the Arizona Cardinals draft. I thought Isaiah Simmons was the biggest playmaker linebacker in the draft. I thought that them getting Josh Jones in the 3rd round was tremendously lucky because there were people thinking Josh Jones would have gone in the 1st. So I thought that was really, really, really good first 2. They got some really good defensive linemen in the 4th round in Futu and Lawrence. And then they kind of rounded out the draft with Evan Weaver at linebacker and Ano Benjamin, I want to say, from Arizona State, the running back. Now, I think they could have addressed the running back need earlier, probably in that 4th round. But I think they have a little more faith in Kenyon Drake than we're all thinking they do.
as they should.
And
They
you know
should
what?
with DeAndre
They probably
Hopkins
should.
there.
They probably should. They didn't need a ton on offense besides line help, and Josh Jones gave it to them, and for a much cheaper price. I think that he will probably be starting early in the season, probably at right tackle or something, just to get him used to the line. Isaiah Simmons is going to be a fantastic quarterback in that defense. He will be able to control that center of the field. He's a playmaker. So that's going to allow Patrick Peterson, some of the other defensive backs, to have some of their better years. The only thing I think they didn't do great on, obviously because they didn't draft one, was draft in the secondary. They didn't get a cornerback. They didn't get a safety or anything like that to help out with their defense. That may have been the only thing I could say, but am I mistaken in saying they drafted or signed Darius Slay, or is that the Bears? I can't remember who he went to. I feel like they had a free agent pickup. But yeah, I really like the Arizona Cardinals draft. I thought they did well with what
I don't
they had.
remember where Darius Slay went.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm trying to
either.
think too.
Eagles.
Was it
Yeah.
the Eagles? Okay, it was the Eagles.
Yeah.
Yep. Good call, Jason. Jace is always right.
But what do you guys
I'm the
think?
smartest man alive.
Oh my god. I'm gonna bash my head to this fucking wall.
No, he generally just has his iPad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that, Jesse. That's the Cardinals had a very. I think Isaiah Simmons is the best defensive player in the draft.
I think so too.
Cut and cut and dry. What did I say? Cut and bar. Chase Young. I mean, he's like the phenom, like the fucking perfectly built defensive edge rusher. But I think fucking Isaiah Simmons is gonna bring home the bacon.
Yep.
Every down player.
They talked to them today, and they said they're going to keep him in linebacker. They're not going to be using him much in the secondary, which Tiki Barber then pointed out. If you actually look at the stats, Rondé Barber played 60% of his snaps at linebacker because they consider the slot corner and a nickel a linebacker.
Yeah,
He's the outside linebacker on that. So Isaiah Simmons can still technically be playing a lot of linebacker and be doing secondary work at the same time.
Right. Which is something like Tyrann Mathieu did when he was there. Or who's the other one? Tony Jefferson?
I think he's going to play a lot like Ryan Shazier. Ryan Shazier was all over the field. He was playing mainly out of the middle linebacker position, but he was in on a lot of pass rushes, a lot of run defense, and then a lot of pass defense. He did it all. I think that's what Isaiah Simmons is going to do, mainly out of the linebacker slot.
He's overall just a playmaker in the defensive linebacker position.
I agree.
So, anything to add to that, Jace?
No, Isaiah Simmons, by far as he slid, really with the other player. If you were going best player in this draft, if you wanted to do defense, you were going to take him. But drafting scheme, need, everything, all these other teams needed. Cliff Kingsbury was sitting in his very posh. Did you see where that motherfucker was sitting drafting? He's just got a fire outside his house and then just Arizona mountains, and he's just sitting there and he's like, yeah, okay. And
Take him.
Motherfucking monster falls to me at 8. Yeah, I'll take him. Fuck it.
He's living his best life, is Mr. Cliff Kingsbury.
It's because he's a piece of shit. Fuck him. But
Yeah, Adam. To quote Adam Gaze, or what the fuck's his name?
yeah,
Adam Gase.
Gase.
Fuck
I'm
him,
rich.
Rich.
I'm rich, bitch.
I'm rich, motherfucker. I don't
I'm
care.
rich, motherfucker.
I don't care
Yeah.
about the Jets. I'm rich.
That is the easiest draft pick he'll ever make in his life, because that draft pick will probably make him more money than Kyler Murray.
It's a gift
Yeah.
from the gods.
I think you're going to see Kyler Murray have one hell of a fucking season this year too.
I'd agree.
They
with
have
that.
I think they have fucking 57 receivers on that
Well,
depth chart.
Jesus Christ, Larry Fitzgerald, Larry Hopkins,
Captain
Larry
Kirk.
Fitzgerald, DeAndre Hopkins on the other
Hakeem
side.
Butler. Hakeem Butler's my
honestly-
player to watch on that team.
I'm sitting there, I'm picturing Kevin trotting out as their quarterback with Hop and Larry Fitzgerald on the other side. If you throw it within 10 yards, they're going to catch it. They're going to jump up,
Yeah.
they're going to catch it.
Bartolo Colon could be their quarterback. And
Well, you are the Bartolo Colon of NFL quarterbacks, I was about to say. Third quarterback in the NFL Pro Bowl you're going to hear. Kevin Robinson.
yeah, well, you're the Matt McGloin of NFL quarterbacks.
Oh, you kind of look
I
like
get
Matt
it because your
McGloin.
hair is red.
Fuck, dude,
My
that
hair
sucks.
is red.
I'm sorry.
His hair isn't red, despite what you see in this camera going on right now.
He looks like Matt McGloin. Holy fuck, never noticed that.
All right, so we went over our
Shit.
best teams we liked. Let's just quickly go around the horn and talk about who was your favorite player out of this draft. Were you happy with where they went? How do you feel about them? So, like, who was the guy you are so excited for coming this season as from a player standpoint? I'll start with whoever wants to go.
I'll
Go
just
ahead,
get
Kevin.
mine out of the way real quick, because my favorite player, and as I did more research, as I got through the draft, I was really, really, really excited about CeeDee Lamb. Was really, really looking forward to
And he's a
wearing silver.
cowboy.
Yeah. And he's got Amari Cooper on the other side, Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield, and all-world offensive line. And say what you want about Dak Prescott, he is at the very least serviceable, and he can throw. But behind that team, he can throw something together. And CeeDee Lamb is going to make Amari Cooper's bum ass look very good. And Ezekiel Elliott is going to have a career year because of CeeDee Lamb. And
Yep.
I don't get upset. I don't get
What
I don't
could have
get
been.
worked up, but the Raiders
could have been.
fucked up. The Raiders fucked up big time.
Jamarcus Russell. Who do you
Ruggs-
got there, Andy?
I just wanted to say, just to add to Jason's misery, that Ruggs, I think he had some catching issues in college too, didn't he?
He caught the second most. He was the second most reliable receiver in college football the last 2 years.
Was he?
Yeah, the last 2 years of his college career. So that shows how much you know about fucking college.
I'm thinking of somebody else. I'm out of it. I've been fucking working my ass off all day.
Well, no, you're. Oh yeah, that bathroom that's a quarter of the way done.
quarter of the way done, I was fucking shouting to you earlier, and you're a fucking dickhead about it. Oh, I don't give a fuck that bathroom dumb shit. Fucking.
And Chip Gaines over here, everybody.
All right,
Yeah.
Kevin, who do you got?
The one I think is, again, I hate this. I hate it so fucking much. But that's going to make the biggest difference for a team, and I think is going to have a great career because of it, is going to be Jedrick Wills. The guy is an absolute fucking beast. Also, though, you're going to see TJ Watt and Bud Dupree twice a year, bitch. So you better be everything that you've been talked about and more. Because if not, pack a fucking lunch, buddy. It's going to be a long day.
It's gonna be good. Maybe it'll make for good football.
Iron sharpens iron.
You know what? It would be even better to see him be as everything he's talked about and more, and have some epic battles between those three guys throughout games. That's always more like watching back in the day Reggie White going up against Eric Williams when the Cowboys and Packers would play. That was just to watch those two guys at the top of their game working their craft. Always awesome to see. That'd be great. And then if Conklin sucks on the other side and we can still get sacks from over there, it'd be even better.
I think mine, honestly, is, and this is kind of an odd one, but I'm rooting for Justin Herbert. I think that the Chargers needed this whole rebranding more than we realized. They need a new face. They got him. And I feel like the guy's going to have a rough road early.
Jesse and the 5 Chargers fans are rooting for Justin Herbert.
Right, yeah, that's it. That's it. I feel like they needed a rebrand, and they need somebody. I hope this guy can come out of the gate and do well. I think he's going to have rough times, but I hope he can do well because they need it. That is a franchise that just nobody even pays attention to anymore. And I just really hope that he can come out and play well and kind of rebrand that team, build it around him. They're probably not going to have a great year, but I like them having him to build from. So I'm rooting for him, I guess is the best way to say it. Do you have anybody else, Andy? Because I know you mentioned Henry.
Yeah. My favorite is probably, he's a fucking long shot, and you guys are going to fucking make fun of me. But the quarterback from the University of Hawaii. Does anybody know who the last quarterback from Hawaii that was taken in the draft was?
Oh, Mariota?
No, fuck no. He went to Oregon.
I know.
Colt Brennan. Does anybody remember fucking Colt Brennan?
No.
Yes.
Wait.
I'm fucking better. But anyhow.
Colt Bennett? Colt Bennett from the Ranch?
Colt Bennett, yeah. But no.
Ashton Kutcher?
Cole McDonald.
I thought he went to Florida
quarterback for Hawaii. He's now the Tennessee Titans backup quarterback since Mariota's gone. And he has Tannehill size, and he's fucking mobile, and I think I like where he's set up because I mean Tannehill's injury prone, and I like this guy a lot. Jace, fuck you. Shave your beard.
He can't because he looks like Matt McGloin.
Talking about his next Tennessee Titans quarterback crush.
Yeah, exactly. I'm getting started. I'm doing the Packers thing, but with my Tennessee Titans backup quarterback. Taking them ahead of time.
Gotcha.
The other thing I just want to throw out there real quick is I thought it was hilarious that Jalen Hurts went to the Eagles. Like,
I like it.
Do they not have faith in Wentz anymore? Is that the
No.
thing?
That was injured history. You can't.
Can't
They
stay
already
healthy,
won a
and he
Super Bowl with
sucked.
Nick Foles because Carson Wentz was hurt. They
He couldn't-
understand the value of having a good backup. And Jalen Hurts won a national championship and then backed up Tua Tagovailoa to win another one. So
Yeah.
He was terrible at the end of last year against anybody that resembled a good team. could not move the football. And on top of that, not being able to stay healthy. Yeah, I'd probably have been looking. I mean, they went ahead and got a receiver with the first pick to try and help him out. But then at the same time, they went ahead and backed their asses up on whether he's going to stay healthy or not by getting Jalen Hurts, who, we talked about that, I think, over a month ago at the Combine on all the different passing drills. They had Herbert, Love, and Hurts all were within very close range of each other as far as accuracy on all throws, and Hurts actually had a little bit of an edge on those two on deep throws.
Yeah.
So he's not terrible, and he's mobile, and he hasn't really had a history of getting hurt like Carson Wentz has. So I don't mind it at all.
One small little thing that's completely off topic that I'll probably just mainly focus this on you, Kevin. There was a Willie Gay Jr. drafted. Please tell me that's not William Gay's son.
I don't have any information on that, but if it is, 6 interceptions, 3 for touchdowns for the Steelers, maybe.
He's a linebacker at I think it was Mississippi State. And I just thought that was funny that I saw that.
I'm looking.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Hey, William Gay, for whatever you want to say about him, his last 4 years as Steeler was fucking lights out.
Could not stand that.
He was better than Mel Blount.
And also, he gave us some entertainment with the sideline dances in the middle of the game. So the dance offs you have with other teams.
Last tidbit, real quick. Let's just touch on the few NFL topics that happened out there. Jameis Winston did sign with the Saints. And Kevin, you were talking about that earlier. I just kind of want you to kind of spit out what you were saying earlier.
Well, there was the other team that offered him and reportedly offered him more money to go there was Pittsburgh. And he declined that and went to go down to New Orleans, which I think is the better move for the future of Jameis Winston. The 3 of us that are still sitting here, we all love Ben, but Ben's a dick. And Ben was not going to help him develop himself at all. Whereas going down to New Orleans, Drew Brees is all about the city of New Orleans and that team. He's going to do whatever he can to help everybody on that team. Sean Payton is also, an offensive wonderkind. So they will really. This is going to be a place he's going to sit underneath the learning tree for a season. It's a 1-year contract, and then try to capitalize and make that a bigger contract somewhere else because he wasn't going to start anywhere this year.
He's essentially doing the Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah.
Who turned it into a pretty big deal. Was there any other big name signings that happened or anything special you guys want to tell?
Not as of
Dustin
yet.
Colquitt got cut.
Yeah, he got cut. Dustin Colquitt got cut. He was just on Pat McAfee, within the last week too, talking about being on the Chiefs and how happy he was and everything. So it's really, really a shitty situation. I mean, he spent 15 years with the Chiefs organization. Although the topic of conversation on Pat McAfee is that his future forever home would be in Pittsburgh. The Colquitt family has history there. Their father, because his brother Britton also plays in the NFL, their father was a punter for the Steelers back in the day. And that's what Pat talked about. He said, Jordan Berry, he said, I forget where he said they were at, but he went out and he said, I walked out and he said, this guy's just punting bombs. And it's just ridiculous. He said, but then you put him on Heinz Field and 40% of his kicks are good. But Pat McAfee said he thinks that's a good spot for him. He said, Mike Tomlin used to always tell him back in the day that when you're old and cheap, I'm gonna bring you back home to Pittsburgh. And Pat told him, I'm never gonna be cheap. But yeah, so Colquitt. The other one to look at is Pat McAfee has actually talked about on his show that he's getting ready to go out and see whether he thinks he can still kick a football, because he thinks he might want to make a trip down to the Bay and hook up with Tommy Terrific for a year. So that's been discussed on the Pat McAfee show.
So they're just going to create a retire team. They're just going to create the last 10 years
It's
of
the
retired
Cardiac
players,
Kids, the
all-stars.
Cardiac Kids Tampa Bay version.
It's fucking amazing.
Which
Horrible.
would be
Drug
also
test
appropriate because
Pat
isn't that the
McAfee
team
so
that beat
much.
the Cardiac Kids in the Super Bowl? Isn't Tampa Bay the ones that beat the Raiders in the Super Bowl?
Yes.
So it would kind of come full circle that they were the new Cardiac Kids and then go and win a Super Bowl.
Ironically, that was also the season they traded Gruden over to them, wasn't it?
No, I think that was Tony Dungy. I think Gruden was still the.
No.
Dungy.
Yeah, it was Gruden that beat the
No,
Raiders
no. I don't
in
know.
the Super Bowl. I'm pretty sure because they traded Gruden
Oh,
to
it was. Oh, okay.
them. How'd that work out?
Trent Dilfer.
Dilfer's dimes. He really didn't throw any in that game, but
No, but
or in his
he
career.
didn't need to.
But then, so that happened there. I mean, we're still waiting on some other moves to be made. Cam Newton and Andy Dalton, everybody's thinking are not going to end up where they are right now, free agency or the Bengals. But like we were talking about too before the draft, a lot of these guys that are sitting in free agency, a lot of teams, because, we're probably waiting to see how this draft was going to shake out because you can't bring anybody in to do anything anyways. The other topic, a couple teams have started to bitch because Tom Brady went to Byron Leftwich's house. Well, first he went to Byron Leftwich's neighbor's house when he was on his way to Leftwich's. Oh, you didn't hear this one, Jesse?
No.
He was supposed to go over and meet Byron Leftwich, walks in the front door of this house and just plops his bags down and walks in, and it was Leftwich's neighbor. So then he went over to
What would you do though if Tom Brady just waltzed into your house?
What the
I'll tell you what.
Well, first off, you probably know that
hold
Byron
up.
Leftwich is your neighbor,
Not
and
to
you're like,
interrupt, but I'll tell you one thing right now. If Tom Brady walked into my house and sat his bags down, I was like, oh, I thought I'm in the wrong house. I would look at him and go, I am a diehard Oakland Raider fan. You did just fine.
You are in the wrong house.
tuck roll, motherfucker.
It's gonna be me on CNN. They're gonna be like, Tom Brady's in a hostage situation. They're like, admit you fumbled it.
Yeah,
Admit you
until
fumbled
he
it.
admits he fumbled it, he's not going to be released.
The world and Charles Woodson wants to know right now.
What was that movie? What was that movie with fucking Aykroyd and what's the other guy's name? Where they abducted Damon Wayans when he was playing a basketball player. Celtic Pride. If you haven't seen it, if you haven't seen it, you need to watch it. It's hilarious.
This fucking
I'm a
B
little-
movie.
That's a deep
thought
dive. Holy shit.
I thought I was old, but evidently
Yeah,
Kevin
but
beat me there.
I'm sorry, but as soon as you went, what would you do if Tom Brady walked into your house? I'm thinking as a kid in 2001, being a 6-year-old child, being like, we're going to the Super Bowl. Yay, Brady dropped the ball. And then the refs come out and they're like, after further review, and then life has been fucking miserable since then.
But anyways, Tom Brady was going to Byron Leftwich's house. Went to the wrong house. Then he did go to Byron Leftwich's house. They hung out for a little bit. Leftwich gave him the playbook. A lot of people are bitching about it because there's supposed to be no contact right now between coaches and players and blah, blah, blah.
Tampering.
Which, I mean, the NFL said they did an investigation and found that there was nothing wrong with it, which that's what they were talking about on Tiki and Tierney. They couldn't have done anything anyways because it's not. This is just basically it's a suggested set of guidelines to try and make it even because at the start of the pandemic, certain states were shut down and others weren't. So they didn't want other teams to have an unfair advantage over another. But there's nothing they can do about it because it's not in the collective bargaining agreement. So if they tried to punish them for it, they would have just taken them to arbitration and won.
Shut their hands.
So Tom Brady finds another way to cheat.
Yeah, basically. He got his which I mean it's not really a big deal. They would have fucking mailed him the playbook anyways.
Yeah.
But-
And then I think the only last thing is we mentioned that they're working on a deal for NCAA to allow players to use their names to profit.
Names and
essentially,
likenesses for profit. So
from
like
third
autograph
party
signings.
Yeah. That
endorsement.
could mean the return of
deals from-
NCAA football video games.
No,
I did see
it will
something that
not mean
EA
the
Sports,
return of that.
EA Sports
Why?
did come out and basically say today that they have no plans right now to bring that back. So
It's because they can't, because they don't have a collective. If they don't have like an NCAAPA, because they would need to have an organization like that to be able to properly disperse benefits, blah, 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 things of that nature, and all agree upon.
Well, didn't the past games just have like
They were just
quarterback
licensed by the
six?
NCAA.
Wide receiver 0, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
like,
it was like numbers. It's like you knew it was. It was like you
And
played
in all
2014
reality,
or
all
whatever
they
it
had
was.
to
You knew
do-
if you were playing with the fucking Florida State Seminoles. You knew Jameis Winston was your quarterback.
yeah.
Yeah, but that was the thing too. They were using their numbers. Like Reggie Bush was number 5 on the one, and which was his college number. They could have easily changed the numbers and just kept doing what they were doing. They decided it just wasn't worth the hassle because people would still try to find a way to nitpick and pull a lawsuit and blah blah blah. So that's just pretty much it. They're not going to worry about doing that. But what they've talked about is not only is this going to be good for like your college football players, you're also looking at different sports like a soccer team or something like that. You know, they could get, the star of the soccer team, local car dealership, give you $1,000, come down, sign autographs, we'll advertise it, blah, blah, blah.
Think endorsement
So it'll
deals
help
how to
out a lot
pay
of
for
kids in college. The big thing, I think, though, that was helping push this through is the fact that they've lost a lot of highly rated basketball players to the G League in the past 2 weeks. The number 1 overall kid throughout the nation has signed in with is declared that he's going to the G League instead, where they'll make $300,000 per year and have an agent. They're also talking about allowing agents in the NCAA as well, too, though, with this. So that'll put them on a little bit more of an even
and that is
playing
where they
field
make-
with the G League.
I mean, obviously the football makes them a lot of money, but their big draw is your one and done, your Zion Williamsons, your fucking, as soon as you get to the NCAA tournament, it's a whole different ball game, and they start blood. Like when those guys, you figure like a Duke, they're in the round of 64, round of 32, Sweet 16, Elite 8. You go, they've gone through like 4 regions, whatever you get to wherever you're going. Those people are buying tickets to go see those players play because they know once those guys go to the NBA, the tickets are going to be a whole lot more expensive.
Yeah, and these
like
guys.
Kevin said, Kevin's absolutely right. These guys are taking that bylaw and they're going, okay, I'm not going to go play for, Michigan. I'm not going to go play
Your
for
profit.
Syracuse. Exactly. I'm going to go just take the direct route, and basically it's the equivalent of going from like high school to a practice squad in the NFL.
Yeah.
So how's it work with
now,
the G League? Do they just draft from the G League, or can they just sign from the G League? How's that work in the NBA?
Is there 1
to
year
be
of G
honest,
League
I have
required?
no clue.
Yeah, I didn't know if
how
it
that
like
works.
counted
I
as
think-
in the
I
draft.
think they have to be. There's some eligibility rules they have to meet, and then they can sign with any team. I don't know if it's of their choosing or
I'll look it up real quick.
I'm not sure.
But then on top of that, I think this will help even the playing field out a bit too, is what you'll then get is guys that might still want to go to the college route now because of being able to do that. And then the TV exposure you get with the NCAA as opposed to the G League. The G League is like NBA TV, and that's it.
The G League is what we all hoped the XFL would have been.
Well, that's what the XFL would have been had this shit not have happened.
Pretty much.
Nope.
Yeah.
No.
What we
Yeah,
hoped.
and it was being very successful in this first
the
year.
G League at least resembles NBA basketball. The XFL did not resemble NFL football in any way, shape, or form.
It was closer than college football, though, and
No.
college football is still the feeder thing for NFL. So
XFL was closer to high school football than it was college football.
no, it wasn't.
Hate it.
Isn't it?
But on top of that, the XFL was going to be a success. They had the funding for up to 3 years. This killed it, this whole pandemic, because part of what they were using for the funding was profits from the WWE, and the losses they've taken through all this has really took a big chunk out of that too. So,
Yep.
I mean, they've even started cutting talent.
Yep.
On their end.
All right, guys. Well, that should about wrap it up. Does anybody have any last thoughts? Kevin, do you want to do your shout out?
Yeah. I want to do the shout out. First thing I want to shout out here is while we've been sitting here doing this, I've been getting a constant stream from my Facebook Messenger group with the RSR guys. Congrats to Dan. And that would be Lucky Dog, the guy who's won the most races in RSR so far. He is one of those guys that made the Pro League. And I would guess that means that he just won his first Pro League race tonight. Pretty big deal. He's running for Germain Racing. They have the number 13 Ty Dillon car. And he actually, the week before last, was able to have some Zoom meetings with Ty Dillon and do a little bit of back and forth talking with him. The team brought him a whole new iRacing setup with wheels and pedals and shit. Doing a lot for him to help him out, and so it's a really cool deal for him. Congrats to him if he did win that. Like I said, I'm just assuming because you know that's a pretty big deal. Also, he won last week at Talladega in a pretty exciting race there with a lot of passes with a few laps to go, and there he just responded and thanked you guys.
What's the kind of purse on a Pro League racing?
The Pro League deal is $210,000 purse among 24 drivers. Yeah. There's 12 drivers from Xbox, 12 drivers from PlayStation that made it into this Pro League. And basically how it goes is he's got a teammate, and that teammate's on the PlayStation side.
Okay.
So they take like their combined effort on the season, do a points deal based off of their combined efforts. And these teams,
the winner takes the 210, or is it
the winner? Well, percentage. Yeah, it's broken down, tiered structure.
You could walk away with about 100.
Yeah, you're going to take probably the bulk of that as the winner, and the actual NASCAR teams choose these drivers. So Germain Racing actually, in basically a draft, drafted him to their team. Roush Fenway Racing has a guy that races in RSR as well. And then there's another guy, I can't think of the name of the team, but it's the 95 car that Matt Benedetto raced last year. They picked him up, Jose, from RSR. So we've got 3 guys that race RSR off and on, 2 guys that run it every week, and a guy that races off and on, all made the Pro League. Actually, CGM Rose, who was in the RSR League, made it and kind of backed out.
Wow.
And he just said, "This is one of the best days of my life." So he won the race, basically. So I'd say that's pretty confirmed.
Congratulations,
he won
bud.
that race. So
Good job.
congratulations again to Lucky Dog there. I think we're at Dover this week with the RSR. On top of that, we've also started working with 3 Wide Racing. It's another group. They do a Friday night and a Sunday night deal. Smith and Turner are doing that, and I'm hopping in from time to time if I'm available to help out with that as well. So I want to thank those guys for letting me be involved with that and for supporting the podcast as well. Got a good amount of talk about the draft and everything, and over the weekend, of course, that was one of the things we talked about during the races. And on top of that, if you get the opportunity, go over and hit up Smith XNC on YouTube and give them a subscribe to him on there. It's free to subscribe on YouTube. Also, they have a lot of content on there between racing, PUBG, all kinds of different stuff. If you want to check out some videos, they need some people watching videos on there. He's almost got to the point where he'll be making money from YouTube as well. So
very nice. All right.
And also, while you're there on YouTube, All the Rage Sports. Subscribe.
No, that's right. We'd like to make some money.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Any final thoughts from you 2 over there?
Fuck Jace.
Okay.
Fuck Andy. Let's make a tea time for this weekend. And after hearing that there's a $210,000 purse, I was just eBaying pedals and a steering wheel.
You want to go with the Logitech for your first set and force feedback?
Okay, well, I'll be sitting in my garage welding literally a fucking. I'm gonna tear apart
cage around himself.
chair.
Fuck golf. We're
literally, if I do it, I'll post it to our Facebook. Just be like, here is me making my own racing seat. And then set up.
Yeah,
But Jesus Christ.
He's gonna have like Jordan outside of the roll cage with like the hamster ball water bottle. To
just
lean
be
in
like,
and
"Feed
give him a
me."
drink.
My only thought was like, if I can have a teammate on PlayStation, I was like, how much would I have to pay Homer to buy a PlayStation right now? Just like
Well, you don't pick your teammate; they pick your teammate.
Wheels, 2 sets of pedals, $210,000 purse. Let's fucking play. But no, that's super cool. Those guys are doing all that.
That's
I mean,
yeah, that's
it's
awesome.
even greater that they're letting your dipshit ass play along with them. So
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know
what the
why they were in such desperate need for talent.
I am a talent. I'm the smartest man alive. So
Sure. All right. Well, guys and girls, thank you so much for joining us. As always, you can visit All the Rage Sports on YouTube. You can view us on Spotify, iTunes. You can go to our Transistor host site and listen to us directly from there. Follow us on Facebook, like us on Twitter and Instagram, and always hit up our webpage. If you ever have questions, needs, wants, want to hear something, want to argue with one of us, message us. Send us a message on Facebook. Send me an email.
Tell us we're pieces of shit.
Yeah, do it. I don't care. We'll love to hear from you. So thank you so much for everything.
incredulous.
And you can always click on our donate button on our Facebook page or our webpage to donate to our PayPal. I think we still have 66 cents in there.
We haven't been on hiatus this week.
Brian
either.
Baden.
Yeah, there's no hiatus this week. So
yeah, pay us.
all right, guys. Do you have anything else you want to add?
Nope.
Fuck Jace.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you next week on All the Rage Sports.
Blooper reel.
Rage